So students, our next classification is physical and chemical changes. You can see one of the main headings on this page, and it goes as the classification of changes into physical and chemical is of great interest to chemists. Then the kinds of classification we have discussed so far. So we will study physical and chemical changes separately. And first is the physical changes, and the definition is given. I guess it is going to be the number 3 for this chapter. So number it and mark it. And it goes as a change in which no new substances are formed and which can be reversed by reversing the conditions is called a physical change. It's quite clear that the two, main ideas they are showing us over here, like the two criteria, like no new substances are formed, and the change can be reversed by reversing the condition. Fine. The most common examples of physical changes are changes in state of matter. We have already discussed. All these changes fulfill the criteria we have mentioned. And now we will discuss few of the examples. And there are total 1 to 7 examples. Fine. So number the examples carefully. And after reading every example, we will be very much getting the idea that on the basis of the criteria that we have just read, why this particular change is a physical change. First one is the glowing of a heater or a bulb. An electric heater or a bulb glows when electric current is passed through it, but the glow vanishes when the current is switched off. So the change is reversible. Also, no new substances are formed. Therefore, the glowing of a heater or a bulb is a physical change, and figure 2.3 is also showing you this. Next is the melting of a solid. When heated, ice melts to give water. The kind of matter contained in ice and water is the same. Now, what is kind of matter? Matter is what, like the composition. Fine, like water is having composition of H2O. The same molecular composition will be in ice also. Only the state changes, that one is in liquid and one is in solid state. So no new substances are formed when ice melts. Also, water changes back into ice when cooled. Thus, the change, the melting of ice, is reversed by reversing the condition, that is, heating is replaced by cooling. Hence, the heat melting of ice is a physical change. Fine. And this has been summarized here in 2 points. And it's said that when any solid melts, then the first dot is telling us that no new substances are formed in the change, and the second dot is telling that the change is reversible. Fine. And thus the melting of any solid, underline it, is a reversible, you can see, is a physical change. Fine. And like ice, butter, sulfur, iron, lead, silver, gold is a physical change. Figure 2.4 is also there. The next is the freezing of a liquid. So on being cooled to 0 degrees Celsius, water freezes to give ice. On being heated, ice melts to give back water. So the freezing of water is a reversible change, and no new substances are formed when water freezes. Hence, it's a physical change, and underline it. In fact, the freezing of any liquid is a physical change. So, melting of any solid and freezing of any liquid is a physical change. Fine, students. And next is sublimation. As in sublimation, some solids directly form vapors without melting. When cooled, the vapors are directly converted into the solid. Thus, the change is reversible and no new substances are formed here. So, it's again a physical change. So, the sublimation of solids like ammonium chloride, camphor, naphthalene, and iodine is a physical change. We have discussed it earlier, and like naphthalene balls, we were discussing last time, that how when it forms vapors, actually it forms very toxic and poisonous fumes. So these toxic fumes only keep the moths away from the woolens and protect the woolens from the insects, right? And this is done so far with the examples we have discussed. So I think till here you revise your today's topic, students. And for homework, you want to take it, I guess you can read book pages 12 and 13, so we can discuss further. And whatever topics we have read today and marked, and on the basis of that, if you want to try the back exercises or even the short question answers. That will be a kind of good revision for you. So try, if you really want to try it, and read today's definition and mark the examples carefully. Fine students, take care.